First of all, I want to express our profound gratitude to United Airlines and its executives for a very clear demonstration of trust and confidence in Dominica's economy and the opportunities which exist in our country, Dominica. An airline like that will only come to a country if there's an opportunity and if there are opportunities. And we appreciate the fact that they have recognized that there are indeed opportunities. I also want to place on public record my appreciation and expression of thanks to the Honorable Minister for Tourism and her staff for their efforts in ensuring that we kept on the pace of engaging all airlines that we would wish to have do services for the Dominica. I also want to recognize in a special way my appreciation to Mr. Samuel Johnson and Ambassador Badwell for their efforts. But I wanted this morning to single out the efforts of Mr. Samuel Johnson. Mr. Samuel Johnson was born in Dominica, worked in Dominica for some time, and then migrated to the United States of America. And he has agreed to take on the post of assisting us with the construction of the International Airport, but also with increasing our airlift into Dominica. And it is something that he has placed tremendous amount of time and energy on this, and we've seen the results of his efforts. And I wanted to make this point because it's important for us to recognize that even if we live overseas or out of Dominica, that we too can make a contribution to Dominica's economic development. What we need is an intrinsic commitment and desire to the country and a willingness to work together towards achieving this. What this United flight will do for us in Dominica is no doubt open up new avenues of opportunities. And we've seen it in 125 passengers, and our hope, and I just met this morning with one of the executives of United Airlines, and we spoke about how can we strengthen the relationship and how can we expand and deepen the relationship, because it's our intention to have increased number of flights into Dominica by United. And the hope is that we can transition from Douglas Charles to our international airport once it is completed. And so they're very keen on engaging us in how we can expand and strengthen the relationship. You saw them in action at the airport and how involved they were in providing support for the inaugural flight. And this has characterized the relationship and the discussion and negotiation between Dominica and United Airlines. And so we're very grateful to them, and we look forward to the continued success of the flight into Dominica. Now, we give God thanks for all of these things that we are achieving in our country. But we also want to recognize the fact that had it not been for the extension of the runway, that had it not been for the grooving of the runway, now one can appreciate with the challenges that every country in the world is having with the increased cost of running the country, we prioritized the extension of the runway. We prioritized the grooving of the airport because in our negotiations with United, they indicated to us that once we extend the runway, they would make a decision to come. And so, while there are many people, many stakeholders who were critical of the extension and who felt it was a waste of money, we're seeing the fruits, the tangible fruits of that investment taking place in Dominica. And this is what happens sometimes when the government is seeking to increase opportunities. We always have criticisms, albeit negative criticisms. And if you're not focused on what you need to achieve for the country, you will run the risk of abandoning those interventions. And so we are seeing this result. And we can only look to greater things. Similarly, when we're investing in hotel rooms, partnering with developers to build hotels on the CBI program, people felt that we're wasting money, too many hotel rooms in Dominica. The reality is now we do not have enough hotel rooms in Dominica. And so we need to increase the number of hotel rooms in Dominica because people are coming and people want to come to Dominica. and so this United flight is a tremendous show of confidence in Dominica. Just last night someone was saying to me that a financier and a developer, hedge fund manager, having seen the news of the United flight into Dominica, says that he want to come to Dominica to look at the opportunities, because when the airlines come, they come in because there are opportunities. There are other things I would like to speak, but I don't want to overshadow. It is United's time and moment, and I don't want to overshadow their commitment with referencing other things that we're working on today. But at a different time, I will certainly speak to this. But this is tremendous, and we say so with the greatest sense of humility about the government's efforts towards growing the economy, expanding the economy, and we're delivering. We have delivered on infrastructure, we're delivering on geothermal, we delivered on the expansion of Douglas Charles, and we indicated, Night Landing indicated that this was a short to medium term solution to our access problem. And it's happening. It's happening that we have direct flights from North America into our country at Douglas Charles. This was never envisaged by us as a country, not even to have flights landing at night. And one appreciated, well, when we took a decision to introduce night landing at the airport, it was said that night planes would never land at the airport. And we're not only seeing planes landing from the mountainside, but United landed from the seaside, which is a show of confidence. And the engineers, independent of us, recognize that the airport is, the planes can land a 737 commercial aircraft. It's not the first time a 737 has landed in Dominica. They've landed because they were chartered flights. But this is the first time a 737 commercial flight has landed in the country, because that requires special and differential approval to have commercial flights. And so we can only look towards expanding this, and we're very confident that the future is bright for Dominica. And all of those investments we're making is in a view to create jobs. That's the first objective of the government. Create jobs for people, sustainable jobs for people. Because I've always maintained that it is my hope and dream that those of our family members who are resident overseas can come back to our country to opportunities, and their opportunities are growing. And so let us be positive in the country. Let us look at opportunities. Let us position ourselves as citizens and residents of Dominica to take advantage of those opportunities. So we thank them very much for that, for United, for its commitment, and we thank all those who played a part in ensuring that we got to this point. I also want to indicate to you I attended a summit in the United Arab Emirates last week. The summit focused on innovation, on tourism, and also on climate change and financing of global initiatives. And I had the opportunity to participate in a couple of panel discussions on these very important topics. And our participation highlighted the need for continued multilateralism in addressing global issues. The reality is, we in this part of the world, the Caribbean, we have to place ourselves in a better position to participate in the innovation that's taking place and the technology that is available to countries and governments and citizens, because that's where the world is going, and there's no stopping the world from that. And therefore we have to forge partnerships and alliances and relationships to ensure that we can benefit from those investments, innovations, so that our young people can have the tools of trade and have the qualifications and have the education and the skills to be able to participate and take advantage of the opportunities which exist. Of course, the issue of financing for adaptation, financing for resilience building, financing for allowing countries like ours in the Caribbean, developing world, small island states to have access to financing, not only financing but cheaper financing, better terms and conditions, of financing to allow us to invest in our countries, to create this in the economic sovereignty that all our countries are yearning for. And so the participation there was very important, and we had an opportunity to interact with world leaders and to business people, and to let them know that yes, we may have some vulnerabilities brought on by climate change and external shocks, but there are opportunities for investment. There are opportunities for investment in infrastructure, in tourism, in agriculture. There are huge opportunities there that we can partner with private and public sector entities to help us with. One of the things that we got up from the government of the UAE, and of course hoping that they'll be sending a team to us in March of this year, is to look at our efforts towards the digitization of Dominica, and to see where the gaps are in our own strategy and our national plan, and to see how they can assist us in, first of all, developing a broader, because I'm of the view that we should go deeper in terms of our digitization project. And so they'll be coming in to look at this, and the whole idea of using technology in every sphere of our society. At the airports, at the hospital for a health management system, in our schools, not only telling a child that you have a laptop, but how do we use that laptop? How do we use technology to impart knowledge and to impart tuition to our students, and in agriculture, in our road safety efforts and so forth. And so we have to come to a point where technology is properly immersed in society. And it's not just seen as a cell phone, or we on Facebook or social media and so on. It is about taking advantage of these things to make money, to create jobs for us, and to bring foreign exchange into our country. And so it's important for us to participate in this. And my final point, because I'm sure the media has a lot of questions, I don't want to be long, is that I'll be traveling to Barbados on Wednesday to attend the CARICOM Heads of State, Heads of Government conference. There, and of course, at this conference of heads, we'll be discussing many issues, including the free movement. As you know, I have been advancing the cause of the free movement of all people in CARICOM. It should not be an elitist thing, or if you go to university, or if you have a university degree, then you're allowed to move. It has to be about everybody. Integration has to be about everybody benefiting and participating in this project. And so we are stuck on the issue of contingent rights, whether people are entitled to education, if so, to what extent, or healthcare, if so, to what extent. And I'm hoping that we can make some progress in Barbados and get the full free movement. I made it clear to them, because they now want to add pilots and flight attendants. I'm not prepared to support this, because this is just convenient. And I think that if we are truly committed to the free move to the CARICOM project, which I believe we are, then we have to show it in a tangible way. And the best way to show it is for people to be able to move freely in the Caribbean. And this notion that people are going to flock into this country or the country, the evidence doesn't show that. None of our economies is as strong as it is that people are going to flock to our countries for opportunities. We don't have enough people in the Caribbean. We don't have enough critical mass in any of these countries. Outside of Haiti, we feel 11 or 13 million people. And so we need to be able to have the movement of people so that we all can benefit from the skills and talents and opportunities which exist within the Caribbean space. And free movement is central to this. And so we're hoping that we can make advancements of this. Of course, the thorny issue of the cost of living and the cost of goods and services to our citizens is on the agenda, and I'm hoping that we can spend some time on this. There are no clear strategies that one can use to address this matter, because it is imported inflation. A lot of these things, the prices are landed in our countries, and cost of shipping has increased, cost of insurance has increased, and so it's more for us to see how we can share our views, and to benefit from each other's views as to what is it that we can do to cushion the impact that the cost of living having on all our citizens, including government, because governments are the largest consumer of goods and services. So even within the government, we are still increasing the cost of running the country because we also buy this stuff from the shelves. We buy it from the merchants in Dominica like everyone else, and we're not exempted from VAT, or we're not exempted from excise tax. You know, if we buy a vehicle as a government, we pay excise tax, we pay VAT. There are some entities in Dominica who don't pay excise tax and VAT and import duty, but we pay. We're not exempt from those things, so one can appreciate the impact on this. So I want to thank the media for being here again. You being here is important. This is part of our efforts to enhance transparency, enhance accountability, to address the issues that the people are raising, and to give responses to the concerns that they've raised for us. So we always appreciate the media being there. Without you being there, accessing the people will be not as extensive as it is with your presence and you echoing those sentiments that are pushing forward. But no one can contest the fact that notwithstanding the challenge that we face, notwithstanding what's happening in the world, that this government is in fact delivering to the people, and we're seeing the tangible results manifesting themselves before our very eyes. It is left to us as citizens to position ourselves to take advantage of the opportunities. We go to university is an investment. We have to use that skill, use the talent to make money for ourselves. And we have to be the best that we are at what we do. That's what's going to make us different from the rest. By being diligent, by being responsive and responsible in what we do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We'll now take questions, starting with Curtis Matthew from DBS Radio.
Thank you very much, Dion Dura-Smith. Good morning to you. Good morning to Prime Minister Skerrit. P.S. Missy Henderson, good morning to you, and everyone else. Good morning. My first question, of course, is the government of Dominica aware of the numbers of Dominicans expected to return home from the U.S. under the Donald Trump immigration crackdown? Right. And my second question is, will the government of Dominica appoint a foreign police chief once the appointment of Mr. Valerie comes to an end on the 31st of March of this year? I will ask these two first questions now, and I will come back in a second round, strong again.
Yeah. Thank you for these questions. What Curtis didn't tell you that he's the acting general manager of DBS Radio. Well, we've been advised by the U.S. government that there are about 104 Dominicans that they've identified who will be served with eviction notices to be evicted from the United States for various reasons. They are not in a position to give the names until those persons would have been in their custody. So our embassy in Washington is in touch with the State Department, which they share information with us. As it is now, I've been told they have about 3 or 4 Dominicans in custody to be sent home. And we are facilitating documentation, because there's some people who don't have no documents because of the length of time they have in the United States, and we have to provide them with travel documents. Because of this, we have elevated the filling of the position of Consul General in New York as a priority. So anybody who is interested in that job, you can apply to be Consul General Dominica to United States. You can't be a U.S. citizen to hold that post, so to tell you. Because that position is very crucial in coordinating the State Department and the various state agencies in processing Dominicans who have to be deported. Now, on the issue of our views on President Trump's immigration policies, I have a different view from most people. Mr. Trump was elected by the people of the United States of America. He said to them what he was going to do. He is doing what he said he was going to do, and we respect that. He's the President of the United States. This is a domestic policy, and the reality is, most, if not all, countries in the world have the same practice. Mr. Trump has a way of making things look more substantial than they are, and he's doing that. But we have no issue with his immigration policies and what he's doing where this is concerned. And we will continue to cooperate with them and to facilitate the repatriation of any Dominican who has been deemed to be of not a bona fide status in the United States of America. And so we work with them very closely, and we have a duty and obligation to do so. But it's no different. Countries deport people from different parts of the world every single day, and deny people entry into countries every single day. And I don't think anyone should make it look like it's the only place happening in the United States of America. So we'll facilitate this, and we'll facilitate Dominicans coming home. In respect to police chief, there's no discussion on this matter about a foreign police chief. I believe for now, within the police force, we do have capacity. That I believe that we would be able to locate or identify someone to serve as police chief in that position. What I believe that we would do is to have some technical support from some experts from overseas to assist us with training, especially at the higher levels of the police force, and at the sergeant, inspector, and ASP level, so that people can have better skills and knowledge of the evolution in crime fighting and the strategies that can be used, so that we're up to date and at all times, all material times. How do we analyze data and intelligence, and to use resources better? So we'll be looking at engaging some outside people to assist in the training and capacity building efforts within the police force. But as it is now, there's no discussion on this about a foreign police chief, and therefore no decision has been taken on the issue of recruiting a foreign police chief.
Good morning, Mr. Prime Minister.
Morning.
Good morning to the rest of the team here.
Sir, you spoke earlier as it relates to United Airlines. But is your marketing team, or maybe the tourism minister, are you guys engaged? Because you can have full planes or, 3/4 filled coming in. What about those going out of Dominica? What is your strategy to get these planes maybe halfway filled? Because you can't have a plane coming in and nothing going out. So what is your strategy there?
Well, so far, with regards to the airlines coming in, they're also going out full. For example, the United flight is an inaugural flight, but 46 people left on the flight as an inaugural flight. 46.
And next week is 96%.
And so the minister said to me 46 people left on the United flight. When it comes in on Saturday, it will be 96% full going out. But the point is, if it's going to come 100% full, you're guaranteed that going back, that those persons who come will go back at some point. And so I think that where we have to focus on in the country is on customer service, the quality of the experience of the tourists. That we're going to multiply. Because, yes, I agree full-heartedly that we have to increase our marketing. We have to increase our presence in the marketplace. I believe that, and Minister and I spoke about this last week, about even within the Caribbean, that there are a lot of people in the Caribbean who would love to come to Dominica and to relax and so on. So we need to increase our marketing footprint in the Caribbean while we have these direct flights from the United States of America. And we're prepared to do that. But at the end of the day, when the people come, that's what makes a difference. Because people will go back to say, well, they had a wonderful time in Dominica, and I went to this restaurant, and I met this taxi man. If a taxi man is picking you up, and all they're talking about is international domestic politics, and not knowing who you're speaking to and what purpose the person is going to come to, rather than telling the person how beautiful Dominica is and what they can see, and he's offering services to take him to Tito Gorge, and he's taking him to Purple Turtle, and he's taking him to Calico territory, and he's engaging himself in foolishness, then who's going to lose out? All of us are going to lose out, especially this taxi man who rely on this tourist coming in for his daily bread. If we go to a restaurant and the waitress or the server is vexed that someone has come in to be served, you know, we can have an issue. And so it's for us now to put our best foot forward. The government is doing what the government has to do, having the enabling environment, creating opportunities for economic activity. So I spoke about the extension of the runway. We were harshly criticized for it. Even myself, it took me some time to make a decision because I know as Prime Minister we owing people, and here it is that I had to spend $30+ million to extend the runway while I'm building an international airport. And then after this, when I approved this, and then the committee, the Prime Minister, well, we have to do the grooving, and the grooving will cost about $1.7 million US and so on, or whatever it is. And I said, but I'm owing people. I have to pay these people. I have to pay this. I have to pay that. You know what I'm saying? And so what do you do? But if I am told that United will only come if we extend the runway, and we will see fewer cancellations by American if we do the grooving, what do you do as Prime Minister? You understand? I could have made a decision not to do this, pay the people we owe, give the Minister of Tourism the $40 million for marketing, but the planes won't come. And people won't get to Dominica. So yes, we need to improve in marketing, but we also have to improve the infrastructure. You understand? We have to improve the infrastructure, and without the infrastructure, United wouldn't come. 2 planes landed on Saturday, American Airlines planes landed on Saturday, in inclement weather. And the one I came in on the second one I came on, first of all, they were overbooked in Miami, so people had to be asked to stay back. But they landed from the mountains in inclement weather because there's a confidence of the grooving, and they landed, and so forth. And even you saw United came in, the weather was bad, but they went to Puerto Rico and they came back and landed from the sea, in rain. And because of the extension of the runway, the comfort of the extension of the runway, and the comfort of the grooving. So we have to do those investments. If you go to market and you don't have the hotel rooms for people to sleep in. So if you go to market and 5,000 people show up, where are you going to put them to sleep? Creole Festival, we can never ask, even Carnival now, people are canceling coming to Dominica. Yes, they have an airline ticket, but they cancel because they have nowhere to stay. So we are growing in tourism faster than we are growing than we expected. No, and this is without major marketing funding. You see, I could say, well, why spend all that money on the Ube to Bacatel Road? Spend half of it and put it somewhere else. But the infrastructure is important for us to create economic opportunity for people in Grand Bay, and people of Pish Lane, people of Bacatel. For you to want to go to Pish Lane, Bacatel, and Fort St. John to enjoy what they have to offer, we need people to go there. We went to Parliament, we borrowed an additional $104 million to finish the road, East Coast Road. But the Carnago people will tell us, and at Kingston, I met with the chairperson council last week, the week for last, and they told me more and more people are coming in this area because of the improvement of the road. Before the road, they wouldn't have the traffic that's taking place. So, and how do we position these people in the Sally Bay constituency, in Castle Bruce and Pretty Soufriere and Good Hope and so on, to position themselves to take advantage of this major investment of the improvement in infrastructure? And so, these are kind of calculated, coordinated efforts we're making. Now, we have been pulled back by Hurricane Maria and Erica and COVID-19. People don't want to talk about those things. But I can tell you, had it been for COVID and for Maria and for Erica, we would have had the international airport. We have had all our infrastructure in place, including the seaport, including the cruise village. and we would have no national debt. We'll be the first developing country in the world that will be owing nobody, because my intention was to have paid our national debt off and be the first developing country to have 0% of debt to GDP ratio. But we've been pulled back by these external shocks and
Just a follow-up.
yeah, sure, please.
Just a follow-up. Yes, it's early days yet, and we've seen countries
Getting new airlines, but at some stage, they may have had to compensate for empty seats going back. Would you want to consider that for the future? Or if you might have to consider?
They're prepared as a government. This is why, you'll remember, we invested in LIAT. And we invested in LIAT under tremendous criticisms by some. And I remember telling Dominicans that the day LIAT shuts down will be a major disaster for the Caribbean. We invested in LIAT knowing that we may never make a direct dividend in return. But for me, that wasn't the preoccupation. The preoccupation was in that we wanted to ensure that we have connectivity to Dominica, we have access to Dominica, and that we have a stake in LIAT. And we show our confidence as LIAT being a public good by investing in LIAT. Private airlines in the Caribbean will not provide us with the service that we need to the extent that they can provide if we do not support them. Because they will want them to fly particular times and particular destinations which do not make economic sense to them. But if you provide them with support from the treasuries, then that would certainly assist them. So we invested in LIAT several millions of dollars. And we've seen the impact of the absence of LIAT on regional travel. The impact of, and so we have been very deliberate with our investments in this thing. Some of them take time, like any investment, but they are all materializing, and so the future is certainly bright for the country. Yeah.
Yes, so let me just follow up with that.
Road structure, and we will compliment, of course, for the great work being done in the Castlebrose Junction going on to Carib territory. But two major concerns in recent times, Prime Minister, as it relates to the road up in the Springfield area. I mean, you pass there every day, so you know it's a serious concern there. And the second one, we visit the Trafalgar Falls, and there's a big boulder in the road there, and everybody's talking about this. I don't know if the bus drivers are concerned, but it's a serious threat for, tourists and persons traversing that road.
Some time.
It has been there for some time. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Not.
After some heavy rains in recent this year.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll take note of that and see whether we can knock this. The Springfield area and trim is something that we've been studying for many years. We've done some mitigation there. As a matter of fact, when we were doing the Canefield to Poncassi Road, that was part of it. By the time we were going to do it, there was a failure there. And so we brought in geotechnical experts in there to advise us on this. What we're doing now is that we've asked the CR5, the company that's building the international airport, to provide us with some advice on this road. So they're discussing with us two approaches. One, a temporary intervention, and secondly, a long-term solution. They said to me, for them to be able to do the temporary intervention, we'll have to close the road for 4 weeks. Okay, so that's something we need to discuss with the Ministry of Public Works and others, and so forth. So I'm hoping to meet with them later this week when I return from Barbados, so that we can have a clear map-out plan on the next stages of this. So they're doing some further studies, but they said they can have some temporary solution to it, and to give them some more time to study for a long-term solution. But they do have some suggestions on how they can mitigate against the impact of the slippage there.
Would you look at the Layo
As an alternative?
Oh yeah, Layo, we are committed to do the second phase of the Layo Valley to not Poncassi, but Sultan Junction. They're going to Warner. So that's the next phase of the road. The road is not in an extreme bad shape. You have two sections that have sunk, and so there's some studies that have to be done there. to see how you can mitigate against the erosion taking place. But generally, the road is in good shape. I think we're going to have to look at cutting the overhangs there, though it's a good canopy, so it's, it's a nice canopy and a nice drive when you go in, but it is posing some problem when it rains and the settling of the rain and no sunlight going in there. So it's an impact that we have to study, because I like to see trees and overhang on the road and so on. So I feel bad about that we may have to cut the overhangs there and to clean the vegetation as a temporary measure. But you could drive through there with no real difficulty currently. So we're speaking to a financing agency for the reconstruction of that section of road, and also from Poncassi roundabout to Bois-Diable, the Tarish Pit in Bois-Diable and so on. So we have the full connection maybe from Bois-Diable all the way to Pegua completed. And of course, the ministry is having a meeting today, as a matter of fact, with the Chinese embassy on the road from the airport to Portsmouth. As you know, the Chinese government made a commitment to finance this road under a grant aid consideration. And so the next step is for them to send the engineering team to Dominica to look at the policy position of the government in respect to what we would like to see the road look like once completed. So the discussions going, the Minister of Public Works and his staff are having a meeting today, this morning, with the Chinese embassy on this. So these two sections of the road, from Layo to Poncassi, to Sultan, and from Poncassi to Bois-Diable are in the cards for consideration.
And the border in Trafalgar?
Yeah, I mean, we will certainly look at that. But as far as I'm being told, it's not a threat. I mean, today, but getting it out is better. But people can go through there, and especially the big buses. So I understand what you're talking about, and so. Yeah.
Yes, Prime Minister, when will the Parliament need to debate and pass 3 electoral reform bills this year? The other question, just take 2 more. Is the government now in a position to offer a salary increase to public officers this year, since the Public Service Union, the police, and Dominica Association of Teachers, they've all said they've made proposals for a salary increase this year? And is the government now closer to finalizing a contract for the lighting of Windsor Park Stadium, the completion of the Arrow House of Culture, and the Thea Lafont sports facility? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. With respect to electoral reform, we're hoping that we can go to Parliament in the month of March to have these 3 pieces of legislation passed into law, and to give the Electoral Commission the authority to effect the provisions of the law, and to allow for electoral reform to be completed in Dominica. What we are engaging ourselves in now, a bipartisan parliamentary committee was established. You have 6 members of the opposition, and you have 12 members of the government. So it's a 2-to-1 committee, which in terms of the proportion of the parliament, it is extremely fair. And we have Honorable Dr. Henderson as a co-chair on the government side, and we have the member for Salisbury, Honorable Paul, as one of the other co-chair of this committee, to ensure that all views can contend, and there is balance in the chairing and the consideration of this. What this committee has been charged with is to visit and to look at all of the recommendations the various stakeholders have made, post the publication of the bills on the government website, and those bills that have been taken to the Parliament for first reading, and to see which of those suggestions, recommendations, could be considered for inclusion in the draft bills that will go before the Parliament. And so this will be the final public consultation exercise, which we will have. As you know, I attended the consultation which was organized by the Business Forum, and so I thought we had some pretty good exchanges, and at that time. So, but March will be the date. We'll give you a specific date. I'm hoping the cabinet can arrive at a date tomorrow, and then we'll inform the country on a particular date in March. Salary increase, I don't want to prejudice the negotiations. Sometimes when I try to help the union, they tell me, I'm interfering in the process and so on. So there's a negotiating team. I know there's a meeting, is it today or tomorrow? Something this week? There's a meeting. There have been proposals from all of the unions, quite rightly so, and there have been some submissions from the government side, and they will meet again to discuss their salary issues and non-salary issues, and we'll see how it goes. All things will be considered, as always, but we'll wait for the recommendations that will come to me for in respect to the salary negotiations.
But can it be a salary increase right now?
I don't know. I said I don't want to prejudice the discussion. I think we all live in the country. We all benefit from what the country has to offer. And so it's left for us to have an objective engagement with the union, as we always do, and to arrive at those things. I can tell you, those persons who are negotiating, if there's an increase, they too will benefit. So it is not that they. It's not that what they negotiate is just for the others and not for them. So, but they have a responsibility to both themselves and to the well-being of the country, and I'm sure they will engage in that spirit as they've always done in previous engagements with the union. But I must say though, we've always had some very, very wonderful exchange with the union. I take the opportunity every year to meet with them myself. If there is a sticking point that they need my ear on, and I'm available to do so this year as well. But all of the unions have been very respectful. Public Service Union, the Police Welfare Association, DAT, they've all been very respectful and very open, and I think it's always wonderful discussions. Sometimes later I want to make it look like, but they don't really fighting and so forth. But later generally is a nice guy and so on. And every time I meet with him, it's always pleasant exchange and respectful exchanges and so on. But at the end of the day, I always say to people that the unions have a responsibility to their constituents, to their members. And so I don't take offense to how they represent their people. That's how they represent the people, and we respect that. And so I don't take offense at all. The government doesn't take offense at all in their strong words or their strident words or whatever it is. No. But it's important for us to engage ourselves in objective analysis and discussions. In respect to the Windsor Park, yes, we are closer. I think, as I said, now it's a matter of negotiating the quantum, contractual sum, and I'm hoping that can be done in quick order. Iraq, as you know, the only outstanding contract then was the roof. That some leaks had been identified. In further examination, there was no need to replace the entire roof, and we thank God for that. A company submitted a proposal to do some fixing of it. A contract was signed, a payment was made. I understand that the contractor is waiting for some supplies. That's correct, Oscar? Waiting for some supplies to come in. And once that is done, that will be completed, and then all of the internal stuff are available to be placed. The seats, the lighting, the acoustic system, everything is in place to be installed. But you cannot install them unless you fix the roof. Because once you put these things in, nothing else will go in there, no dust, nothing will go in there. And so we have everything in place to get it going. I'm hoping that the roof can take a couple of weeks, and once it's done, it's a matter of going ahead with it. The TLR for stadium, there's some really positive steps forward. We have gotten commitment to fund the synthetic track, so that has been resubmitted to us, and we're working with the Olympic Committee and there, in particular Mr. Brendan Williams as a point person, and I want to commend him for his efforts in his discussions with his counterparts internationally, and they have been able to commit themselves to providing this. There's some things that we have to do in regards to the land. I know a paper went to cabinet last week. A decision was taken on this. There's some issues that we will discuss tomorrow, and to finalize tomorrow on this. And once we have the land, it's a matter of now doing the engineering and going in there and getting the land ready to place the synthetic track. All things considered, I think this year, with 2025, we could see the synthetic track in Dominic, and that will be at the Point Rung estate. So we'll finalize the cabinet tomorrow, because I have some views that we will share the cabinet on this.
Follow-ups,
Question as it relates to lights in the Windsor Park. When will we see that before the end of the year?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm hoping that we can finalize. A notice being passed to me. You know, Nikhil? Okay, so there's something that we have to do. We have to remove all of the existing structures that have been put in. Remember, we had signed a previous contract on this, and there were some structures put in there, so that has to be removed and so forth. So that'll be done. And then it's just a matter of negotiating with the contractor that have been identified for the contractual sum and proceed. So we'll push on that, but certainly 2025 we'll see that completed.
Another question quickly, Prime Minister. One of the major tickling issues or pressing issues, somebody's remarked the other day, if it was the only issue to decide elections, you might lose the election, as it relates to garbage collection in Dominica, sir. There's a serious problem, and of course, the issue of environmental levy always comes up. I mean, money has been allocated for garbage collection and trucks. And what is the issue in terms of timeline? When will we see this rubbish issue settled, sir?
Thanks for the question. I don't think I don't think that will cause my but I appreciate that. I appreciate the concern. I appreciate the concern, and I take note. That's the only issue you're scared that can bring me to me. The only issue scared that's, everything else going fine, but let us just address a little issue there with garbage collection, and you'll be fine. You a short victory next time, and so on. So I always like to have matter wrong, no matter what, tell me the truth here. Yes, I mean, we have to take this garbage collection and garbage management from different perspectives. We have to discuss this thing from a holistic standpoint. The responsibilities of the solid waste corporation, but also responsibilities of the citizens and residents of Dominica. I mean, if we engage ourselves in better waste management practices at our home, then we would have less waste leaving our homes and going to the landfill. And if we're to respect the times and dates that we have to put garbage out, then that would also lessen the visibility of waste on the roadside. If we stop taking garbage from one village and bring it to another village and dumping it indiscriminately, you saw a video of a lady in St. Joseph complaining that the government just clean up St. Joseph there, and you're coming from out of St. Joseph and dumping garbage there on your truck. When that truck would have driven itself to the solid waste site and dump it at solid waste site and pay $2. And so we have to speak about solid waste management from an individual standpoint, a business standpoint, and a community standpoint. Now, and of course, from the national level, government level, that there's something that we have to revisit. And I'm happy that Dominicans are now recognizing the fact that it would be important for each of us to pay a fee for the collection of garbage. Nobody pays, except those who may go to the solid waste site and pay. And you only pay $53 per ton of garbage. That's not even enough to pay the person weighing the garbage for you, far more to pay the electricity bill up there. So all of these things have to be revisited and to look at this. What we're going to be doing is that we are going to acquire some garbage trucks. So we're going to outfit the solid waste with some trucks. We've identified some trucks based on the specifications given to us by the Solid Waste Corporation. I have also gotten a benefactor who will pay for 5 of those trucks for us. So that'll be done in the next couple of days. And we also go, based on the advice of the Solid Waste Corporation, we're going to also acquire some dump trucks to assist in the communities. Because some of those areas, the trucks may not be able to access. And so we have the smaller trucks that can access those communities and so forth. So we're gonna ensure that the Solid Waste has all of the equipment that it has, the tools that it has, and we're working on that. Eventually, we'll get about 10 or so trucks to the Solid Waste Corporation, plus some dump trucks. But I think we have to show greater respect to the environment. In my village, because I try to ensure that we don't put garbage out. That I always say to people that we put it out when we truck coming. And we have enough land as bucket space that we can manage always. I live in Mount Daniel. I have a whole dog that I put all of the perishable items in there. So none of this goes to. So there's a basin in the kitchen, and every perishable item you put it in there. And I get very, very, very upset if I look at the garbage bin and I see perishable. So I go back and I remove it myself and put it separately and so on. Likewise at my home in Vegas. We engage in composting, and I use that for my plants. I use that on the farm, and we recycle it. And I get a lot of seedlings from that because seeds grow and so on, and you use that and you pot them and you have fruit trees to grow. So each of us need to practice. Now, there's some communities you don't have the luxury of the bucket space and so on, but you can put it and let it dry. You can let the banana peel dry, and you put them in your flower garden, you put them in as compost and so forth. So we have to speak about our own individual commitment to the environment as well. And that, I'm not saying so to say that the government doesn't have its responsibility, and neither am I saying so to indemnify the government from its responsibility. No, we will do what we have to address this, because I agree with people that we have maintained the aesthetic beauty of the country, and therefore we should not appear to be losing that. And everybody knows my view about cleanliness and the environment. I'm very particular about beautifying a place and keeping a place clean. If I go to my home and I see leaves on the ground, there are so many plants, I get upset if I'm out with garbage. So we have to do a little more. All of us have to do a little more, and we take responsibility for any shortfall. But certainly we are seeking to address it in a very structured and deliberate manner.
Yes. Good morning, Prime Minister. Shama Laura, Kyrie FM. My question to you is, where does Dominica/CARICOM stand on the free movement situation that's going to take place, especially given CSME? I know you mentioned free movement around regionally, so I just wanted to get some comments from you on that.
I mean, as you know, I'm the lead head in CARICOM for the Free Movement for Labour and so forth in CARICOM, and I've been championing this cause for a long time about the complete free movement of everyone. I don't believe in having a strata society or an elitist society that says that those of you can benefit from it, but those can't benefit because of your circumstance in society. And I believe that everyone should be given the opportunity to move freely within the Caribbean community. That's the only way it's going to make sense. We can't be criticizing Mr. Trump for his immigration policies, and then we're here fighting ourselves among who's going to come to our country, who's not going to come, and as if each of us has we have a continent. I mean, the reality is the Caribbean's population needs to be increased by 200%. Literally overnight for us to really make sense, and we don't have enough skills to take advantage of the opportunity, and so we need to recognize that, and it cannot be approached from a selfish standpoint. So if we need something in our country, then we will support these things. You know what I'm saying? We have to be able to give and take, and we also have to recognize that for the integration project to work, we have to give and take, and so we have taken a decision. There are some countries that have asked for derogation, meaning that they will not participate in certain aspects of the free movement. And I respect countries. I don't criticize countries' domestic policies and domestic thing. And of course, the sticking point for some is about the contingent rights. So access to education, as I said, access to healthcare. In Dominica, anybody who comes to Dominica, whether you're a United States citizen or you're from Australia, you're from Haiti, or you're from the Dominican Republic, you go to the hospital and you get care. You know, we don't tell you we deny you care. Your children sit in school. We don't treat them differently from how we treat Dominican children. So because that's really part of who we are as a society. That we had a certain aspect of us that recognize that we are all our brother's keeper, and I understand people may have concerns about the strain on the fiscal position in the countries and certain things. So my view is, can we not agree to secondary education? I understand you may want people to have access to the benefits that you have for university, but can we not agree up until 16 years that whatever you provide your citizens, then the citizens of all countries will benefit from this? Basic healthcare, primary healthcare. What do we define as primary healthcare? You understand? You go to a health clinic, you have an emergency or accident, you're given care, to save a life. And so this is a sticking point on definitions of primary healthcare, definitions of access to health, to education. And I'm hoping that we can make progress in Jamaica. My view to colleague heads in CARICOM is that this has nothing to do with legal advice or economics or finance. It's a political decision that we need to take. Their politicians will believe sometimes that our citizens may support certain things, but if we place confidence in our people, they understand better than us. And we'll be surprised that the majority of Caribbean people support the integration project and so forth. And we'll see how it goes. But in Dominica's case, we're in full support of this. Complete free movement. The hawks should be able to move freely. The taxi drivers should move freely. Anybody who wants to move from CARICOM, from country to another country, should be able to move freely for a period of time and not be held back. Yeah.
Yes, I'm late. Yes, PM. The issue of ambulance in Dominica's ambulance service, there seems to be a serious issue with that. In fact, someone requested the ambulance at 7 o'clock and it did not arrive in my community until about 10 in the night because they are warned. They had to go to Grand Bay, etc., etc. Why is it that we basically have one ambulance service? Also, the issue of the prison. There seems to be a lot happening at the prison. I'm hearing prisoners saying the conditions, they're not good, etc. We still have an acting prison superintendent. When will that person be confirmed? I'm hearing also, PM, that Curtis Murphy is doing an excellent job at DBS Radio. As the minister, is there any chance of Curtis being confirmed as manager of DBS Radio?
All right. The issue of the ambulance service, as you know, Carla, you don't have ambulances sitting at a dealership for sale. Once you request it, it has to be retrofitted, and that takes time. I mean, we've checked in Antigua, they are none. We checked in St. Lucia, they are none. So the minister, Honorable Blackmore, has been on top of this, trying to get a few ambulances in Dominica. Because once you have an ambulance, it gets into an accident, the people have to be driving fast to get to the hospital as quickly as possible. So I understand, and you can have an accident, you're anxious, you're trying to get to the patient in to the hospital as quickly as possible. So you always have situations where ambulances will get into accidents from time to time. And once you're in an accident now, it takes that ambulance off the grid now. You understand? And it places a strain on the existing one. Because if you have twin rows and one is down, one can understand appreciation. But if it's a situation where you can just go to Auto Trade or go to Stefan or go to Acme Garage and just pick up an ambulance, we would do so. But we have to now wait for those to be retrofitted into ambulances so that we have adequate to supply citizens. I think also here's an opportunity, a business opportunity for people, because many of the islands you have private ambulance services. So it's in Dominica you have free ambulance services provided by the government, but there are many islands where you have private ambulance services. So you can call a private ambulance, you pay $100 or you pay $50 and get to the hospital and so forth. So there's an opportunity there for people to complement what the government is doing and to assist. Because the reality is, Carly, if you compare Dominica 10 years ago to now, where people are building homes now, Dominica has expanded in terms of communities in a dramatic way. You understand? So the cost of providing services to the citizens and residents of Dominica is increasing. Roads, water, light, telecommunications, police service, ambulance service, welfare service. I mean, it is increasing because more and more people are. I have heard people suggest that we should eliminate villages and create villages. But how do you underwrite that cost, and how do you get people to agree to that, and so forth. So it is a huge cost in us, and so that's the challenge sometimes. That a couple of ambulances go bad, it takes time to fix them. Sometimes the part is not readily available in Dominica. You have to wait for it to be shipped from Japan or elsewhere, and so there's a slowdown. But I know the efforts, and the minister has spoken to me, I gave him the green light. The efforts to acquire a couple of ambulances to replace those that have been damaged and so forth. So we're aware of this. With regards to the prisons. Yes, we do have somebody there who is acting. The challenge with that person is that the person goes on pre-retirement leave very soon. So you don't have much time. And the person who went on pre-retirement leave, part of the challenge you have in the public service in this way, my friend, the CPO and others, and supervisors and PSs have to pay attention to, is that you have public officers in critical position who have too much leave acquired. So sometimes somebody goes on leave, pre-retirement leave, for 3 years because they have 3 years of leave. And so you have to wait for that person to get to 60 or 55 to fill the position. And so you have a person waiting for 3 years acting, cannot fill that position because you have the only other option you have is to pay a person for his leave, right? Or her leave, to be able to fill the position. And we have done so before. But when you're talking about 2 and 3 years, it's a lot of money. So that's part of the challenge you have, and that's why it's important that public officers are asked to have the bare minimum required. Because if you go beyond the bare minimum required, then it affects the function of the state. And you have people now acting. So when you have one person acting, you have 15 people down the line acting for 3 years. And that's the challenge you have sometimes. So it is not government's policy, because my position is, and very clearly the cabinet position on this, we have taken decision on this very clearly, that nobody should act for more than 2 years in a position. If the person is not functioning, send the person back to whence he or she came. If the person is functioning, let's get to appoint this person in the position. But sometimes it can't be done because somebody is on study leave, somebody is on leave without pay, and now people get a green card and they're trying to see whether they want to stay in America or not, so they take leave without pay and see how things go, if they can get a job, and so forth. And then if the head of the department is your friend, he may facilitate you or not, that doesn't happen, right? And so it's it's a challenge, and so it is an issue that has to be addressed as you go along. So you have those issues there, but certainly I want to say that Mr. Edmund has done a fantastic job as a superior prison, and as a matter of fact, I'm looking to even have him extend for a few months beyond his retirement to allow him to function there. So it's a discussion that I'm having with the Ministry of National Security and this and so on. But prisons always have challenges everywhere in the world with conditions. There, and we continue to improve the conditions at the prison. I believe ultimately we really need a new prison, and maybe in a different site, different location. But these discussions we'll have, but certainly the welfare of the prisoners is important, because they too have human rights, and that we have to respect as well. But we do try our best to ensure that we ameliorate any of the terrible conditions that are going there, so they can be more comfortable with the answer. Okay, and the confirmation as DBS. I mean, I agree with you entirely. Curtis is doing a pretty good job, and he has done a great job as the one of the main faces of DBS Radio over the years, and we see so in the news and the quality of the news at DBS, and so I have every confidence in his abilities, and he has displayed those abilities over time. But the law, the DBS Act, the Dominican Broadcasting Services Act, defines a process by which a manager is appointed, and until such time, then I cannot. But in the event there is a vacancy, I have no doubt that Curtis will get the vote of confidence.
Well, they didn't ask Khaled to answer the question.
No, I know that for sure. I know that for sure.
He could not, but you also have vacancies at GIS for head of GIS.
Applied?
That's not okay.
Matt is applying.
So, Prime Minister, talk to me.
This afternoon is almost 12 o'clock, or after 12. As it relates to the national debt and... Mike is not on? Okay. Yes, so the national debt and a lot of people have been calling from the West area have not been compensated, sir. Can you speak to that for me, please?
With respect to the national debt, obviously, you always have a concern with national debt and the extent to which we have had to borrow to respond to natural disasters, to respond to external shocks. I mean, about 85% of our national debt is tied to responses to natural disasters and external shocks. And this is a challenge confronting contract hours. And this is why we keep making very forceful arguments to the international community on the need for them to provide us with compensation, whether it's a loss and damage fund, whether it is funds to build resilience, whether it's funds to build adaptation within our country. And those kinds of help have not been forthcoming. And so the question you have yourself, if you have to get some critical infrastructure in to allow you to be able to attract investment in the country and economic activity, do you not proceed with it? And so our borrowing have been very deliberate. We've been very careful with our borrowing, and we have been exceptionally responsible with our borrowing. For one, I don't believe in debt. I don't believe in owing people. But debt is necessary that's my personal view. This is why, if you realize over the years, we have been very careful for our borrowing. And since the passage of Hurricane Maria, you have seen our debt to GDP going down. At the time of COVID, it was about 70 or 72% of debt to GDP ratio. And our goal was to get to the 60% as mandated by the Monetary Council of the Central Bank. And I've said so to the country, and I'm going to repeat there, that prior to Maria, we were saving, and the intention of the saving at the time was for us to pay off the national debt. And what I was planning to do as part of the government strategy, having paid out the national debt, I was going to create an economic investment fund, and we would have paid into that economic investment fund the same amounts we were paying for our national debt every year, which averaged about $120 or so million every year. So in 5 years, we'd have had about $700 million in an account to help reinvest in the country, to provide cheaper financing to the aid banks so that we can lend to the private sector at 1% and 2%, so as to create great opportunities. Unfortunately, the hurricane affected us, and we had to use this money to fix people's homes, to pay salaries for people who are not working for the private and public sector. And so Hurricane Murray has placed us in a very difficult situation. And people don't appreciate that. But notwithstanding all of those challenges, look at the kind of investments we're making in the country and the kinds of returns that we're seeing taking place in the country. One hotel, and I'm not sure why they're not saying so publicly, but one hotelier said to another that the country is buzzing, that you can't find a table at restaurants because the in-house guests have occupied every table. And I think if things happen good for you, say it. Don't only say when it's not happening good for you. And if each of us who are seeing the positive things happening in the country were to express that, then it would serve as confidence and motivation for those of us who are interested in doing something for ourselves. But if those who are in it saying, boy, things tight, boy, my room is empty and my restaurant, boy, and so on, then why would you and I want to get involved in it? And so we have to have a greater positive attitude, because the Bible tells us in all things, give thanks. All things. And it says that the Lord give, the Lord take away. Blessed be his name. So even when the Lord taketh from you, you have to say thanks. We should only go to the Lord in prayer. Thank you, Lord, for giving me something. And when we don't get it, we don't pray.
What's the question, sir?
Yeah, it's an ongoing process, right? We have paid a significant amount of money to individuals. We paid over $40 million in compensation so far. We still have some people that we have to pay. There's some who had legal issues, the different owners. Somebody died without a will, whose money it is. People had to get letters of administration. Some people had to, those wills had to probate the will so that the money is going to be passed on to the executor. There are people who who needed more time for negotiations. But we also have to agree to that there are many people who we have paid who are still occupying government land. And is having a major negative impact on the airport construction because people are in the homes, we've paid them, they build homes elsewhere and they're still occupying the homes, they still have stuff in it. So it has to be a two-way street. You understand what I'm saying? A two-way street. But efforts are going to be made. Efforts will be made. As we go along, we pay. We paid some people, I believe, last week. I know some people got paid money last week. There are people. So as we go along, we are paying once we get to a situation where all of the settlements have been made. But we are aware of what we owe in, and we are making efforts to pay them, and so forth. But I want to make a call to those who have been compensated that it's important that you clear your land, that you can't be renting to Haitians or renting to people, or you are occupying. If you go there, the two homes, for example, that the contractor has circled, and is affecting the construction. And what's happening now is that the contractor is making claims on the developer for loss of time, because and so it is affecting the airport and so on. But we continue to work. I must say that all of the property owners have been very gracious, very respectful. I mean, obviously, people will have emotions and anxieties, and we understand that, and we have made allowances for that. But I think, by and large, I mean, the Wesley, Woodfordale, Palm Tree people have been exceptional in their collaboration and cooperation in getting access to their properties and allowing for the construction of the international airport. And without their cooperation and understanding, we would not have been at that stage of the construction. So we appreciate and we certainly with them on the outstanding amounts that look to them. But we come to them soon.
Final question?
PM, does the government see an opportunity to reduce or eliminate income tax to allow improved disposable income to the working class? That is one. And the other question is, somebody saying that as the PM about the 3 weeks no pay leave public officers are entitled to, so that that cannot affect long acting periods. But the person is also saying, ask about retired public officers who government has taken on contract impeding the upward mobility of other officers. Yeah.
Okay, that's it. The issue of income tax. I am dead against income tax. I am dead against income tax. I believe that we should look at completely eliminating income tax and allow the citizens, the workers of the country to use the money as they see appropriate. And I think one day it will happen. It will happen at some point. But we have to be sensible with it. Now, let me put it out as a point of discussion and feedback from the country. My view is that it's not a decision yet, let's put it out, that we should eliminate income tax completely and look at the possibility of increasing the VAT maybe to 16 or 17 to you move completely to consumption tax in the country. And so income tax would be yours to enjoy. No income tax. And then we'll also reduce on the corporate income tax, possibly from 25% that it now stands to about 10 or 15%, to allow the private sector to have more money, more disposable income, and they can report more transparently on their profits, because some don't. Some say they make a loss when they make a profit because they don't want to pay 20%. I mean, we're talking about ourselves in Dominica. Nobody listens to us, so we can be, some say, and then we free up the place a bit. You understand? These things could have happened had it not been for the hurricane, because we had this on card, and so on. And of course COVID came in and so on. But I believe it's going to happen sooner rather than later. But so I think the view is we should look at increasing the VAT from 16, 17. We'll do the analysis. It is not to profiteer from the citizens, but to make sure that the government has the resources to provide healthcare, to provide education, to improve the roads, and to provide national security for our citizens. So we need money. So if we give you all your money, what you pay, it will be based on your consumption. You understand? So that will come. That will come, and that will come sooner rather than later, where there will be a complete elimination of income tax. I see the FSS, the Minister of Finance, is watching me intently. But I am not a tax man. I don't like tax. I like consumption taxes. You pay based on your consumption. But income tax, you see what happened to Carla, which you know. I'm not sure the person who's sending the question, the person may know that. Okay, so you're reading from your phone. But that's what you guys normally tell me. But based on practice, I will based on practice. Because what's happening now, right? What's happening in many businesses that are individually owned, people don't pay themselves a salary, but they enjoy the perks of the company. And they don't pay themselves a salary because they don't pay income tax. You understand? Though I keep telling the Ministry of Finance, you need to check how much they pay at Social Security as self-employed. So we eliminate this and to enhance transparency. People keep more money in Dominica rather than having it in Miami or offshore companies. And so more money in the bank means the average man can get money to build his home, can invest in his business and so on. So I think sooner rather than later you will see a move to eliminate the income tax and to increase the VAT rate, 16, 17, or how much it's going to bring extra. And so we can have a reconciliation taking place and so forth. The other, on the contracts, I agree with the person to an extent. What I have said to the public service is that if we bring somebody back in, we should not put the person in an established position. Okay? So if we bring a nurse back, I have no problem bringing a nurse back as a sister, but put her in an unestablished post of sister, if we absolutely need her skills. So that the person who is waiting to be a sister for many years and waiting for the person to retire can fill that position. So that you don't have too many people waiting to act. Because one let me tell people, once you retire and so on, people have cake for you and champagne for you. It's happy you go in, because because somebody waiting in his sleep for the position for some time, and then they get a letter saying the person has been re-engaged. Boy, and so I can understand how deflated the people are and so on. So anytime you have a retirement party, my friend, people happy you go because people in the sleep waiting for the job. So we understand that very clearly, and so we try our best to ensure that we do not place people in established positions. We place them in non-established position. So if you bring back a nurse or you bring a school teacher, you bring back a non-established position. You bring somebody as SAO, yes, the person can be SAO, the person has particular skills that you need, you should put the person in a non-established SAO position. And you fill the substantive SAO position. Or you give us a different nomenclature. Because you want the person's skills. You don't necessarily want the person, the individual, you want the person's skills. And so you put the person, you give a person a different nomenclature. So the person, the state has access to the person. But somebody who is waiting for that SEO position for years can be appointed in that position and so on. So these are some of the things that we have to pay attention to. The issue of no pay leave comes with the same problem. That person is on leave, you cannot fill the position. The person is benefiting from the accumulation of leave as well, paid leave, paid leave. And so the public service does it, but it has to be judicious in doing it. But to give somebody a whole year or 2 years no pay leave, and you deny somebody else. So a lot of the challenges you have in the public service, not as people say the government, and the way we define the government, really, I don't know if it's a system that you have to look at and so on. And people blame the government, and of course the government means Skerrit and so on, and so forth. But it is not a lane of blame to anybody. It is just how the system is, and you go to anywhere in the Caribbean, it's the same thing, same challenges you have. You try to help somebody comes and say, person retiring, 55, person has a mortgage to pay, still person has a child in school. What do? It's a small society, So we try to be sensible and sensitive and practical, and the person. I personally believe that the 55 years is a joke. I mean, back then people were getting older fast, but now people. But 55 is you still owe in the bank. You still owe in the bank, and your wages are going to be cut dramatically, and it's something we need to look at. Whether we should not take the age of retirement to 65. And those who agree to go at 55, if you want to still go, you go. But at least, because for me and you, youngster from Kyrie FM and my friend from my father from Paybush, we may never benefit from Social Security. We pay, but we're not sure whether we benefit. Because if you're going to have more people benefit from it than those contributing, you're going to have a challenge. That's why Social Security is all over you have challenges. And so let us look at it from that standpoint. But I think there's some structural things changes that we have to make. And this is something that we'll be doing sooner rather than later. Yeah, but Chris, that's one last question. Sure.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Prime Minister, final question. I've heard in recent time a lot of call for the government to invest more profoundly in bouyon music. What is your own view on the bouyon music in Dominica today? And do you see the government playing a greater role in assisting these young artists? Thank you very much.
Well, the best way to invest in anything is to give the opportunity. Every village feast in Dominica, the government underwrites the cost of it, either through directly government or government agencies. And so, all of these activities are local artists. Then you have the festival, where you get opportunity to participate. And you have carnival, you have jazz, and so we have TV Las Creole. All of these are government-funded activities. You have open up carnival. You have carnival in the villages. you have, Sunrise, you have a host of activities that are all financed by the government, and where you have local artists performing. And of course, because of that, they get the opportunity to be exposed now to the rest of the world. And they now export their talent. You understand? And somebody will tell you that people who call me and ask me if I can get signal band number for them because they want to perform, or get Issa Banton number for them, they'll tell you that I have hooked them up in other places. Suki and all these guys and so forth, and Rage and so on. So we try to support it by giving them opportunities. My advice to them is that they have to use those opportunities to further build themselves and to maintain a high professional standard in the whole management style, the whole department and so forth. Because sometimes you have but a small window to take advantage of it. And therefore, when that window opens for you, you have to see how wide you can open it. And I think Mr. Ridge and I think that Issa Banton are examples that up-and-coming artists need to take advantage, look at the way that they've been going about managing themselves and the skills. And I think Signal Band with Mr. Alfred and so on as the lead band when it is getting to a level. You have Triple K. These guys have shown this. So there is the talent there. I think they have to harness the opportunities and to build on those. And because it is opportunities that will bring more opportunities. So if a guy hears you perform well and you're on time and so forth. So even when you come to the village feast, if you say 10 o'clock, you can't be walking at 12 o'clock with your guitar in your back. You understand? You have to be professional and so forth. So all of these things that will give opportunities, and I think nobody can contest the fact that that we support. Even when people have called for me to ban certain music in the country, we've resisted this. I've encouraged people to be disciplined and to the quality of the songs that to be improved. So I do speak to them privately on this matter and make suggestions to them, and we offer them help and support wherever we can to ensure that the monies that they make, they invest it properly, and they can multiply it to other things and get involved in other investments. So Bouillon is huge, and it is a major exporter for Dominica and a major foreign exchange for the artists. But they have to, and so we support it fully, and of course the opportunities. So all the village fees, you go to this, you have 10 artists in a local village. It's on three weekends, and all man getting paid by the government.
They need to be more comfortable.
I see. Okay. All right. I take note of that. But thank you. It's been a wonderful exchange. I want to thank the media for your very insightful questions. I think these were very deep questions. And so I appreciate that, and I look forward to the next opportunity to engage you and to share with the people of Dominica, our citizens and residents. Thank you very much. God bless you.
As the Prime Minister said, we look forward to many more of these engagements. Thank you to the members of the press for coming, and of course the members of Cabinet who have come in person to show support. As you know, we're also organizing a series of press conferences, government press conferences focused on projects, and we'll keep you updated on the next one. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.